All right, guys. Good evening. I think we're going to go ahead and get started. And if we've got some other folks that come in and hop in, that'll be great. Hope you guys are doing well. My name is Andy Lemons. I serve St. Edward's University as the Senior Director of Recreation and Wellness. And we're going to have a chance to talk to you guys a little bit today about the opportunities that the institution has in support of our students' wellness. And so I know as students go through the decision-making process in selecting a university or a college of their choice, being able to thrive and succeed is a really important part of that process. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about what that looks like here on the Hilltop. One of the mottos that we've come to be known for around campus is hopefully our prospective students have heard that we want to educate students to take on their world. But one of the things that has become crystal clear to us over the years is that we need to help our Hilltoppers take care of themselves so that they can effectively go out and take on their world. And so a lot of what the education process at St. Ed's that occurs for our students happens both in the classroom and outside the classroom and helping them thrive. And so we're going to talk today about a university initiative called LiveWellSEU that is focused on helping our students be prepared to go out and take on their world. I think a lot of the country's getting more used to Zoom than we would prefer, but we do want to remind you about a couple of our Zoom webinar features as we go through this tonight, a couple of logistics. I've got a little bit of a presentation that should last no more than 30 minutes. If I go longer than that, it's because I'm really excited about the opportunities that we have to engage your students. But I should stay as close to 30 minutes as possible. And we will have as much time for Q&A at the end as needed. We are going to use the Q&A feature in your Zoom tools. We do not have the chat feature active. My suggestion is as you come across questions as we go through this, go ahead and throw them in the Q&A section. This will allow us to keep track of them. And I know that myself, when I'm on a Zoom call, I can start to have my mind wander and sometimes forget, oh, I meant to ask a question about this topic. So go ahead and type it in there. But just note that we'll come back to those questions at the end. And you might find that there's a slide throughout the presentation that answers your question, but please feel free to pop them in there. And like I said, I will take as much time as needed as we get to the end to answer every question, because this is one of the most important decisions of hopefully our new students' lives is selecting the Hilltop. And so I want to make sure that everyone has every opportunity to ask any question that they have. You can also ask those anonymously if you're more comfortable in that. So tonight we're going to talk about living well on the Hilltop. And one of the things that we talk through, I just want to share the agenda. We're going to talk about thriving in college. And as we've gotten better at this work over the years, really focusing on an individualized, holistic well-being approach to support our students both academically and beyond. Then we're going to talk specifically about the LiveWellSEU initiative, how we define and support well-being for our campus community. Then we're going to show you ways that that's been in action on the Hilltop. And then we're going to talk about resources to support you when you come to the Hilltop to support you in your holistic well-being. So thriving in college. St. Edward's University is a member of the American Collegiate Health Assessment. And what this does is it is an annual assessment that runs throughout the country with different universities to find out what health and wellness barriers exist to students thriving academically. We know, and the data has played out, that students who self-identify as thriving are going to be more academically successful. There's a number of different health and wellness factors that determine how a student's going to succeed. And what this tool does is it allows us to glean this information both nationwide for trends for college students generally, but also specific to St. Edward's. So whatever experiences, programs, policy decisions we're able to make for our students on the Hilltop, they are informed by the data that we collect in this assessment. We do know, and it's accepted now, that universities must find a way to support growing health challenges because if students can't be healthy and well, they're not going to succeed academically. And so this has kind of been the route that we're going. And I want to share a little bit some of the striking numbers. These are not St. Edward's specific numbers. These are numbers that are gleaned from nationwide survey that was completed in 2018. The 2020 results are coming, but given COVID-19, I've given them a little grace on getting those to us. But if we look at this first list, this is a list of items that students indicated when they completed the assessment. 87% of college students nationwide are overwhelmed. 63% are feeling very lonely. 41% felt so depressed that it was difficult to function. Less than half of students surveyed get enough physical exercise. Almost a quarter of all students that are now attending college have been diagnosed with anxiety or depression. And I think that's a real stark wake-up call to us that we've got to do something to support our students the best that we can. And then one that touches home for me personally, with past individual experiences, 12% have contemplated suicide. And so if we've got that many of our students thinking that suicide is the only solution to their problems while they're in college, then we've got a real challenge in front of us. Challenge, although sometimes, as we're learning in COVID-19, challenge can sometimes present opportunity as well. So what does that impact mean to academic success, right? I think the mental health crisis in this country is something we're all aware of, but how does it play out in a college setting, and why is it important to focus on this for college students? Students reported the following health and wellness factors and their impact to academic performance. And they define academic performance as they'd received a lower grade on an exam or an important project. They'd received a lower grade in a course. They'd received an incomplete or dropped a course, or experienced some type of significant disruption in a thesis, dissertation, research, practicum work. And these are the top impacts that exist for it. Number one, stress. 33% have said stress has had a major negative impact to academic success. Anxiety is at 27%. Sleep difficulties is 22%. We see depression here again. I do think that it's important that we understand, as we look at holistic well-being, the need to work and access to finances is a really big contributor to students' inability to succeed, because if you've got to balance paying tuition, paying rent, going to class, and going to those jobs that you're holding at the same time, that's a real big barrier that we need to help our students address. And then common cold flu. I did not put COVID-19, but I will tell you that in my unofficial approach, 100% of students have been impacted in this country by COVID-19 and their ability to succeed successfully, both in college and to our students currently in high school. So we're all in that together. So what did St. Edward's want to do about this? In 2017, university leadership began to advocate for a well-being model in light of all of the data that we know about student well-being and academic success. We really wanted to find a way to support our students. And then, because of our Holy Cross values and our commitment to creating a community of care, we also said this model needs to apply to our faculty and staff as well. And so a team of students, faculty, and staff spent 2 years researching and identifying initiatives unique to the St. Edward's campus so that we could begin a process of living well. Uniquely enough, you've probably heard me reference LiveWellSEU. That's the official name that's given to our university's well-being initiative. And it was launched very recently, in fact, January 2020, as the university's new well-being initiative. So what does that mean? What is a well-being initiative? What does it mean for us? How are we defining it? Number one, it supports all students, faculty, and staff. It must hold that. It is holistic in nature. I happen to work in the university's recreation center, but I do not believe you can burpee out all the problems in the world. You can't do push-ups and make everything go away. I'll also tell you that you can't talk about all your problems and make those go away either. And so what we're trying to do in our LiveWellSEU initiative is take all of these different components of well-being and help our students find balance, help our students find equity, help our students be well in each of these areas, or rely on each of these areas as they're experiencing stress, anxiety, depression, lack of sleep, so that we really look at this LiveWellSEU model as a way to guide our students through the challenges, successes, and opportunities that are presented to them in college. It is definitely tied to academic success. If the programs and services and experiences we provide on the Hilltop do not contribute to a student succeeding and graduating and going out to take on their world, then we don't need to do them. And that is included in our LiveWellSEU initiative. For me, I'm also excited that it's tied to long-term healthy lifestyle management after the Hilltop. There is a lot that happens in life after college. In fact, most of it happens after college. And so it's really important that we try to build skill sets within our students that once they've learned about taking care of themselves in the 4 years that they're on the Hilltop, well, the first 4 years after the Hilltop, we want them having that same commitment. And so it's really important that it becomes part of their lifestyle and really who they are. And so that's what we're excited to see. So what is the model exactly? This is the worst slide I have in the presentation. It's all words and no pictures, but it is the most exciting content as we're launching the LiveWellSEU initiative. And so well-being at St. Edward's University is a multidimensional, holistic, and active process by which students, faculty, and staff seek to thrive in mind, body, and spirit. We encourage the development of holistic well-being through 8 dimensions of wellness. And then what you see there are the 8 dimensions of wellness that we utilize for our initiative: physical, emotional, spiritual, financial, vocational, intellectual, environmental. These all tied together. Underneath each of those on the slide, what you're seeing are different examples of what that dimension of wellness may be referencing. So for example, physical. I think we all immediately think of physical wellness. We think of exercise, but it's more than exercise. It's good sleep habits. It's getting regular health checkups. It's knowing where to go when you're sick. It's eating the right food. And then I like to think about vocational as well. Vocational is, did I get a job? That's part of vocational, but at St. Edward's, it's a little bit more than that. St. Edward's is a social justice focused institution. We are trying to create agents of change in the world. We want to go out and make the world the best place that it can be. We want our students to go take on their world. And so part of the vocational process at St. Edward's is discover of purpose. Maybe it's not just about what's the highest paying job I can get as quick as I can get it. Maybe it's about what's the best change I can make in the world while I can go make that change. And a lot of times during college, students are going through the exploration process of that. And so we'll talk about all the different resources that support these dimensions, but I think it's key to note that when you see this definition and you're thinking about the Live Well model for the university, it is an all-encompassing experience. As I look at the 8 dimensions on the screen now, I'm looking at the 4-year experience at St. Edward's University. And I think it's a really neat way that all of these things come together so that our students and our families who are trusting us with the care of their students see how we're committed to their holistic wellness in support of their academic success. So in the first year of the initiative, I told you that we started this year. The first year of the initiative, we've done the following. We designed and launched a peer wellness coaching program so that students are trained to give one-on-one guidance to their peers, so that if a student is experiencing a challenge, they're able to talk to another student who's likely gone through that challenge through a number of unique techniques around motivational interviewing and positive psychology, a really positive experience that students have access to as a direct result of the initiative. We identified and launched our new student wellbeing assessment tool. I referenced that already. We have to know what the gaps are in our students' health and wellness in order to fill those gaps and support our students the best we can. And we're committed to doing that with a data-informed approach. We've begun the integration of well-being into the student co-curriculum. That's fancy higher ed speak for that this comes across the board. So as we talk about admissions with students, as we're doing tonight, we want to make sure that those prospective students who will join our family soon know about this initiative. We talk about this when we program our club sport practices. We talk about this when we go through COVID-19 remote work planning. And so really integrating this into the entire student experience has been a big part of our first year initiative. We've developed a campus-wide communication and marketing plan so that students see where this is part of their experience. And then the piece that I've been most excited about, and we'll talk in a little bit more detail, and I'll show you some really exciting photos, is we did complete and open a recreation and athletics center expansion within the last 2 months. And that's been an exciting development and resource for our students. So a little bit more about the initiative. Of those 8 dimensions, we have a number of resources on campus to support students in each of those areas. And I just want to highlight some of those now. Before I go into them, please note, this is not an all-encompassing list. There are a number of ways that I think St. Edward's cares for our students in each of the 8 dimensions of well-being. But having been here for over 10 years, I can make a statement that I feel very confident in. If your student is struggling and they can advocate for themselves just enough to reach out, this university will help get them the resources that they need. And so I just want our parents and our prospective students to hear that, because we are committed to that individualized care, and we use this model to do it. So again, we'll go through some of these resources, but it's not an all-encompassing list. So physical, obviously we manage a recreation center. I've already told you how excited we are to share some photos. What you're looking at here is a shot from our new group fitness studio and students taking classes with the university's main building as their background. On campus, there's a health center. So if students do experience cold or flu or minor health issues, they're able to get access to our health center and also have access to telehealth opportunities as well. We have an athletics program. We also have students that are able in the academic world to major in sport management, pre-coaching, pre-physical therapy. So we have some kinesiology education opportunities there as well. Social, there are over 100 plus student organizations on campus. And I said 250 plus campus events each year, and I was corrected. That's each semester. And so if you give credence to all the different departments on campus, campus ministry, student activities, the residence halls, recreation and wellness, diversity and inclusion, there's so many different offices on campus that support students through active campus events, that there's always something going on campus for people to come, socialize, connect with others. And I promise you, there will be a time when we only don't do that via Zoom. We will connect in person, and we're very excited about that. Emotional well-being resources. In addition to a health center on campus, we also provide on-campus counseling. And so we have trained psychologists. So if students are in crisis mode or are in need of some professional psychological confidential support, we have that available to them as a service here on campus. We have a campus ministry office, and so if students are more comfortable speaking with our campus priest or any of our campus ministers, they're able to serve students. And we also do an amazing job training our on-campus residential advisors who are upper class students who are able to live in the halls and help support students, and they get additional training. So if students are going through crisis, whether it's a breakup with a partner, whether it's struggles at home, whether they're just struggling getting acclimated to college, that's a hard transition. All of these places are there to support our emotional students, or our students that are in emotional crises. Our Dean of Students office is a place that does a lot of curated one-on-one support for students. One of the things I've been most proud of St. Edward's response during the COVID-19 pandemic has been the Dean of Students office has been able to support students in a number of ways, whether it was not having access to technology when they went back home to take classes and helping them find ways to get connected to the internet, to helping them secure funding for a computer, to helping them figure out how can I talk to my faculty member during office hours. The Dean of Students office receives so many different requests, and we're all here to support our students as they go through those emotional up and downs that happen in the college campus. Intellectual well-being, obviously we're here to supply academic education. And so a lot of that lives in our academic coursework, but I'll also touch on diversity and inclusion. St. Edward's is a very inclusive campus, and we have a lot of students from different faiths and different backgrounds, different genders, different sexual orientations, sexual identities. It's an amazing melting pot, truly, of the differences around this country and around the world, in fact. And so our diversity and inclusion office does a really good job of helping all of us who come from different backgrounds meet and interact with those from other places and other experiences in a respectful way. And I find for myself, that's one of the best ways to learn. And so I really appreciate that our D&I office is helping me stretch and grow intellectually by learning about new cultures, new backgrounds, new people. And being connected to Austin, I believe Austin's probably one of the reasons many of our prospective students are looking at St. Edward's, and that's a great thing. Austin is an amazing city and has so many ways for you in your free time or even through your academic courses to have intentional connections with a world-class city that happens to be the capital of one of the world's largest economies, the state of Texas. And all of these opportunities blend together to really challenge us intellectually and let our students grow that way as well. Spiritual resources on campus, campus ministry. Obviously, we are a Catholic institution, and we are a Catholic institution that's supportive and open to all faiths. But we do have a number of masses that occur on campus to support our Catholic identity. But I'd also remind folks that campus ministry is also home to our institution's interfaith council. And so campus ministry is able to connect students of all faiths or no faiths to different spiritual experiences. The campus is also home to a lot of the physical spaces for reflection. I know for me, sometimes it's good to just get out and get to a quiet, safe, reflective space. And then we do campus upgrades, and when we do campus building projects, we're very intentional about how could this support students' spiritual or emotional well-being by making the spaces calm, reflective, and peaceful. It's a really intentional process that the university goes through. And then environmental, we have an Office of Sustainability that supports our recycling and composting efforts. Our food service providers are very intentional about how we are able to help students recycle and compost where appropriate. We put that in our res halls. And then one of my favorite spaces that the university has a partner with is actually the Wild Basin Research Center. And so out off of 360 towards the western hills of Austin, we have a shared complex with the county where we're able to actually take students and do in-person research, but also just take groups out for day hikes and take groups out for evening yoga under the stars out at Wild Basin. Wild Basin is an amazing resource and a really big part of our environmental commitment as part of our well-being model. Our last two, student financial services. I think as you start going through the college process, no matter where you end up, you'll become familiar with that office at whatever institution you're working with, because they're the ones that are going to help you really figure out, how do I pay for this while I'm here, after the fact, what's the best way to find grants, scholarship opportunities, loans, what's the FAFSA process. And so we have a talented group of folks here at St. Ed's that work with our students out of the SFS office. And a number of our programs actually offer student training on financial management. I will toot my department's own horn for a minute. We manage a pretty large Clubsport program, and I'll talk at length about what that is a little bit later, but it basically allows our students to run their own intercollegiate competitive sports programs. And one of the things that they have to learn in that process is, how do I fund a program like this? How do I pay for coaches? How do I pay for travel? How do I pay for equipment? How do I pay for officials? And so managing a budget, in some cases, some of those budgets are $50,000 to $75,000 a year that students are managing, really is giving students real hands-on experience. And that's intentional. We do that on purpose as a way to help educate our students and develop that thought process around financial well-being. And then I touched a little bit earlier on vocational. We have an amazing career and professional development office. They will start meeting with our new students throughout orientation and even within the first month that they're in school as freshmen, because we know you're here as a reason to get somewhere else. St. Ed should be your stepping stone to whatever that calling for you may be. And so CAPD will be with you along the entire way. In addition, there's on-campus employment, training, and development for our students, both as student leaders. For example, maybe a club sport officer is a non-employed student, but that student is still getting some vocational training and development. And then all of our student employee experience on campus. The university employs up to 500 students a year. Each of those individual offices have different levels of training and on the job skills that you'll learn. And then CAPD and the institution are really focused in utilizing Austin and our global St. Edward's network to do internships and support undergraduate research. And one of the things that I've noticed that I've been really thrilled with St. Ed's is how intentional we are. If students come to CAPD or any of our offices saying, man, I need an internship, or how can I get undergrad research? One of the great things about St. Ed's is navigating that is a very simple process. And I think it's real reflective of our commitment to our students' well-being. So that's the model. I want to show, hopefully I did a good job for that, but I don't believe anyone from the other offices is watching and judging me. So I did the best that we could in the moment that we had. So I'm going to talk a little bit now, shift gears slightly. We're still going to live in the world of wellness, but I want to talk about the Recreation and Athletics Center expansion, and then the department that I have oversight for, which is Recreation and Wellness. So there's a beautiful picture of our brand new entryway. If you haven't had a chance to come take a tour of campus, I know there's a lot of virtual tours online. And then as soon as we're allowed to let folks come back on, we would love to welcome you to see it. But in the interim, I really encourage you guys. We have probably the prettiest spot in Austin. And so I encourage you to take advantage of those virtual tours. This is the outside of our new facility. We opened on January 13th, 2020. St. Edward's University moved into remote operations on March 13th, 2020. So we were open all of 8 weeks. And so when we welcome you guys back to campus or onto campus in the fall, you will be able to take advantage of a facility that was open for literally 2 months before we were able to share as we were getting open. So what's in the Rac Expansion? There's a brand new fitness center with 6,000 square feet of true strength and cardio equipment, top of the line, and I've got photos of that we'll be able to show you. The photo you're seeing on this slide is what I call the best multi-purpose fitness studio in Texas. A lot of universities have a wood floor. They have a suspended floor for reduced impact on joints during high intensity classes. What they don't have is that view right there. And I miss it terribly. It used to be something I'd walk in and just, hey, I'm just gonna chill out here, because the view you're looking at is the university's main building. And so you've got these 20-foot windows and this amazing view that students are able to take advantage of. It faces east, and so our sunrise yoga classes are a big hit. In addition to those two physical spaces, we also added a number of less traditional physical well-being spaces. So we added a new wellness seminar room that supports student education around health and wellness. There's a new tech-free wellness lounge. There's one-on-one coaching and consulting space. And then we opened a new spin studio in one of our other auxiliary gyms. And all of these new resources just opened within the last semester, again, January 13th. So there's some photos of it, and try to see if my pointer's here, if you guys can see that. What you're looking at in the top left is the brand new weight room floor with all of the cardio and strength equipment. We were one of the first gyms, not rec centers on a college campus, but gyms to have the line that we have from True. And so True is the exclusive provider of all of our strength and cardio equipment, and they've been an amazing partner. From training our staff on how to educate students to use the equipment, to making sure that we're cleaning, to right now they're working with me on what a reopening plan and layout would look like so that we could adhere to CDC guidelines and provide a safe experience for our students in the fall. The photo here in the middle is our nap pod. If you go back to our assessment data, one of the biggest gaps to academic success was students getting enough sleep. So in our tech-free lounge, we installed a nap pod where students are able to, between classes, come in, get a scientifically proven 20-minute power nap to re-energize them for the rest of the afternoon and send them on their way refreshed and ready to learn. Again, you see your studio over here. This is a group of students that are taking yoga in the class. The one down in the middle where we've got students congregating, that's our tech-free wellness lounge. What you'll notice missing from their hands are cell phones, tablets, laptops, any type of technology. This is a room that has been designated tech-free so that students can disconnect. I miss that room terribly as we have moved to the Zoom world, and I'm sure many of you do the same. But it is a really popular space because sometimes students just need a place to go grab a tea, sit, meditate, quietly reflect, play a board game, complete a puzzle. All of the things that we know are important in this technology world, we've created an intentional space for students to come and disconnect. Bottom right, just some more shots of our cardio equipment. And then what you're looking at here, the only new space that you hadn't seen before was top left. This is our new entryway. So the Recreation and Athletic Center supports not only all of these general fitness and recreation spaces, they're also home to our varsity athletics program. So that new entryway is a place where we support ticket sales and welcome guests to the university who are coming in for home basketball games or home volleyball games. So it's really kind of changed the way that students, faculty, alumni, guests, athletics partners, and visiting teams experience the campus. Other resources that are available in our university's Recreation and Athletics Center that you don't necessarily see pictures of. We have 3 basketball courts, 3 volleyball courts, 2 racquetball courts available, locker room and changing facilities, restrooms, multiple areas of study space, and I referenced the spin studio. I just didn't have a great photo of it. We're also developing a new functional training area, and so there's just a number of different resources where students can come over and be healthy, well, and also socially interact with a lot of their fellow students. We like to tell our folks when we train students who work in these spaces, we want to be the best hour of everybody's day. So if you're able to join us in the Hilltop in the fall and you come to the Rac, that's our goal in these spaces, to give you the best hour of the day. So let's talk a little bit about the Department of Recreation and Wellness. The Recreation and Athletics Center is one of many functional areas that we manage, but there's a number of ways that students can connect with our department to be healthy and well. So I referenced managing access. and the safety of those spaces. But I want to show you some photos as I go through some of the different opportunities and programs that we provide. I did actually sneak a shot of the spin studio in here, but it was from my phone and not professionally done, so I snuck it in with a bunch of other ones. But there is a shot of the spin studio. So the programs that we offer, we manage a robust club sport program. There's a shot of our rowing team right here. The club sport program at St. Edward's currently has 17 teams, over 300 club sport athletes, and these programs compete intercollegiately around the country. Prior to COVID-19, there were a number of places our programs were going to go nationwide this spring, including Tennessee, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Louisiana, and Louisville. And so there's a number of opportunities for students that love sports to continue competing against other universities across the country. There's a shot of our rugby program that's usually a top-ranked program in the nation. We also run recreational intramural sports events. So those are events that we host on campus, where we might host a 3-on-3 basketball tournaments for students to just come and play with their fellow friends. We have open nights for indoor soccer, volleyball competitions. We have a robust esports community that is, well, let's talk a little bit about esports. So down here at the bottom, let's talk about the esports program. There's a large esports program here at St. Edward's, and it meets the needs of a number of students. So there is a varsity sponsored program that competes at the highest possible level. RecWell is in charge of our club program that has over 60 students participating in that. And then we just use our esports arena for pop-in tournaments for any students. So if you're like me and you're a casual gamer, but you love the competition that comes with a Mario Kart tournament, there's a space for you in RecWell and part of our recreational and intramural sports offering. Our wellness services, this is a shot of our peer health educators. This is a group of students that will go out into the community and educate our students on any number of things. It might be healthy eating behaviors. It might be healthy relationship activities. It could be suicide prevention programs. It could be benefits of physical activity. It basically is whatever our students need. And they use that assessment that I showed you earlier to go out into the community and educate our students on how they can be well. Additionally, the wellness services is home to the aforementioned peer wellness coaching program. This is a shot of some of our students last fall who went out to Colorado Bend with our outdoor adventure program. We sponsor a gear rental program so students can check out outdoor camping gear from us. We do workshops on how to plan your own trips, and then we sponsor trips so students can come and have a curated experience with us, where we'll send them out with trip leaders for a long weekend to go out and get outside. Again, recognizing the value of the environmental wellness, the benefits of disconnecting and just being out in nature. I think that's something that COVID-19 has taught all of us. The importance of getting out from in front of these and getting outside. I'm pointing to my windows. And then the other pieces you see up there, here's some times that we went out to Lady Bird Lake. You guys may know that as Town Lake, or am I flipping that? I know that as Town Lake. You know it as Lady Bird Lake. But again, that's part of our gear rental program. And then the last piece we touched on a little bit in our fitness studios, we have a robust group fitness program. So we have yoga classes, we have Zumba classes. I showed you the spin studio. And these are some of our more popular opportunities where students can just come and go to a non-academic class and pop in and take a fitness class with one of our trained instructors. So up here in the top section, you see a bar class. This is a high intensity interval training class. This is one of our instructors. That's why she's smiling while she's squatting. That's not the norm. Most of us don't smile and squat at the same time. And then you can see this group down here is participating in one of our dance-based class. I believe that's a Zumba class. And then here's an outdoor yoga class that we sponsored in the fall. So there's a number of ways that RecWell is committed to helping students live well. And so I've come to the conclusion of all of the things that I had prepared, both from giving you information about the new Recreation Athletic Center, to giving you insight into what the programs within RecWell do to support our students' health and well-being, hopefully some insight into the university's commitment to the wellness of all of our community, but specifically for those of you that are considering joining us, how committed we are to helping you live well. And so with that, I think we can open it up for questions. So my first question that I'm reading, in light of COVID-19, if we do not get to go there to campus, will there be social distancing efforts implemented if do get to go to in the rec centers? Yes, that is a great question. So we are doing that right now. I referenced a little bit of the equipment layout. What we are looking at is making sure that we can provide cleaning that's consistent and meet CDC guidelines, making sure that we don't allow for large gatherings that are outside of CDC and local health official guidelines, and making sure we can have that 6-foot barrier that's kind of become all of our own little bubbles. You can imagine in a gym space that can be tricky, although not impossible. But those are the things that we are working on now, with the expectation that we provide some version of a social distance program for all of our areas, both the recreation center, fitness classes, club sport activities, outdoor adventure trips, health education workshops, personal training, one-on-one coaching. All of these are things that we are actively analyzing, reviewing, and figuring out how do we provide these services to our students in a safe way. But I am an advocate for making sure that these are accessible to the students, because this is a core part of your experience while you're on the Hilltop, is living well. Okay, let me see if I've got any more Q&A. There is a question about if there's cost associated with the fitness classes that we offer. Yes, we do need to charge a little bit for that, but we charge $30 a semester. And so we typically offer 25 to 35 different classes a week. And so we like to tell students it comes out to about 8 cents per class, very affordable. The reason that we do charge is because we want to make sure that we hire certified instructors, and they come with that certification comes with a level of pay that we've got to meet. And so we want to make sure that we can provide the best experience possible. And to do that, we do have that charge. Awesome. Well, it doesn't look like I have any more questions unless there are others who have them on the back end for us. I'm happy to wait around and answer those if you're there. But I must have just done such a bang up job, there were no questions. Awesome. Well, with that, guys, I just, they probably don't want me to do this, but I can't not. I've worked at St. Ed's for 10 years, guys, and I can't think of a place that would be better to go to school. And I didn't go to school here, so I can say that, having compared it to another university. And I just think the care that we provide our students, the commitment we have to their well-being, is something that's really hard. Well, let me save. I've got another question that came through. Hold up. Can students work on the gym? Yes. So we employ 80 students in my department, and the vast majority of those do work in the gym, but they also lead the trips. They teach the fitness classes. They manage the club sport practices. They're lifeguards in our pool. They host special events. They do the wellness coaching. They're personal trainers. There are a number of opportunities for students to be employed in our department. So great question. And you're welcome. Thanks for saying that, Haley. That makes me feel good. But yeah, I got to give my plug for St. Ed's, because aside just from the wonderful things that I get to do in the recreation center, I've experienced St. Ed's to be one of the more caring places that I've encountered in higher ed. And so if you're thinking about looking for a place where you can find a new home, where you can be who you are and not have to be somebody else, and be proud of who you are, and where you can learn to go take on the world and change it, St. Ed's is the place. And I would love to get a chance to meet you guys, maybe not shake your hand or give you a high five in August, but I promise to do that before you graduate, because we are a family, and we hope that you will be a part of that extended family come August. And so I'll close by saying good luck in your decision making. I know it's tough, but you should come to St. Ed's. This is where you need to be. I'm biased, but this is where you need to be. So appreciate the time. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I hope everyone's staying safe and well. call your moms, give them some love. COVID-19 is tough. And so fear the goat, and we will see you guys in August. Oh, wait. How would you go about getting a membership? Great question. There are no memberships to the RAC. Every student, faculty, and staff has access already. And so you would go about getting a membership by coming to class in the fall and coming over to the RAC, and we'll let you right in. So it is part of your student experience. And so there is not an additional fee to come use the gym, just to do some of the programs that might exist within the gym. Awesome. Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting now. So I think we have to tell people that so that we don't cut you off, make you feel bad. But I appreciate the time and look forward to seeing you soon. Y'all have a great weekend.